La la la. La 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 la. Do 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 do. Let's start reading here, because I don't have that much time to read. Freak, man. Okay. So, guys, welcome to another live stream. All right, so we got Judges 5 to 21. We're going to be finishing the book of Judges, and then I guess we're reading the book of Ruth, and then we're starting 1 Samuel. So, that's what we got today. Let's get to it. Judges. No, Samuel. No, we're on Joshua. No, we're on Judges. We are on Judges chapter 5. Judges chapter 5 is right here. All right, if we can finish Judges, that would be super duper good. Guys, I'm meeting up with a friend, and we're going to be talking about the Old Testament and stuff like that. So hopefully I can finish the book of Judges. That would be absolutely great. All right, so Judges chapter 5, the song of Deborah and Barak. Then sang Deborah and Barak the son of Abinam on that day that the leaders took the lead. The leaders took the lead in Israel, that the people offered themselves willingly. Bless the Lord. Hear, O king, give ear, O prince, to the Lord. I will sing, I will make melody to the Lord, the God of Israel. Lord, when you went out from Seir, when you marched from the region of Edom, the earth trembled and the heavens dropped. Yes, the clouds dropped water. The mountains quaked before the Lord, even Sinai before the Lord, the God of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, the son of Anath, in the days of Jeel. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta do something real quick. All right, we back. All right, we back. What the heck? Why is it? All right. In the days of Shamgar, son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the highways were abandoned and travelers kept to the byways. The villagers ceased in Israel, they ceased to be until I rose. I, Deborah, arose as a mother in Israel when new gods were chosen. Then war was in the gates, was shield or spear to be seen among 40,000 in Israel. My heart goes out to the commanders of Israel, who offer themselves willingly among the people. Bless the Lord. Tell of it, you who ride on white donkeys, you who sit on rich carpets, you who walk by the way to the sound of musicians at the watering places. There they repeat the righteous triumph of the Lord, the righteous triumph of his villagers in Israel. Then down to the gates marched the people of the Lord. Awake, awake, Deborah, awake, awake, break out in a song. Arise, Barak, lead away your captives, O son of Abinoam. Then down marched the remnant of the noble, the people of the Lord marched down for me against the mighty. From Ephraim their root, they marched down into the valley, following you, Benjamin with your kinsmen. From Machir marched down the commanders, and from Zebulun those who bear the lieutenant's staff. The prince of Issachar came with Deborah, and Issachar faithful to Barak into the valley They rushed at his heels, and among the clans of Reuben there were great searchings of heart. Why did you sit among the sheepfolds to hear the whistling for the flocks? And among the clans of Reuben there were great searchings of heart. Gilead stayed beyond the Jordan, and Dan, why did he stay with the ships? Asher sat still at the coast of the sea, staying by his landings. Zebulun is a people who risk their lives to the death. Naphtali too, on the heights of the field. The kings came, then fought the kings of Canaan at Tanach by the waters of Megiddo. They got no spoils of silver. From heaven the stars fought. From the courses they fought against Sisera. The torrent Kishon swept them away. The ancient torrent, the torrent Kishon. Marched on my soul with the mighty. Then loud beat the horses' hooves with the galloping of his steeds. Curse Mirah, says the angel of the Lord. Curse its inhabitants thoroughly, because they did not come to the help of the Lord, to help the help of the Lord against the mighty. Most blessed of the woman by Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, a tent-dwelling woman among blessed. He asked for water, and she gave him milk. She brought him curds in a noble's bowl. She sent her hand to the 10 peg and her right hand to the working mallets. She struck Sisera. She crushed his head. She shattered the pieces his temple. Between her feet he sank, he fell, he lay still. Between her feet he sank, he fell. Where he sank, where he fell, dead. Out of the window she peered. The mother of Sisera wailed through the lattice. Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why tarry the hoofbeats of his chariots? Her wisest princess answered. Indeed, she answered herself, have they not found and divided the spoil, a womb or two for every man, spoil of dyed materials for Sisera, spoil of dyed materials embroidered, two pieces of dyed work embroidered for the neck as spoil. So may all your enemies perish, O Lord, but your friends be like the sun as he rises in his might. And the land had rest for 40 years. The people of Israel did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord gave them into the hand of Midian 7 years, and the hand of the Midian overpowered Israel, and became of Midian the people of Israel made for themselves the dens that are in the mountains and the caves and the strongholds for whatever the Israelites planted crops. The Midianites and the Amalekites and the people of the east who would come up against them, they would encamp against them and devour the produce of the land as far as Gaza, and leave no substance in Israel, and no sheep or oxen or donkey. For they would come up with their livestock and their tents, and they will come like locusts in number. Both they and their camel cannot be counted, so that they laid waste land as they came in. And Israel was brought very low because of Midian, and the people of Israel cried out for help to the Lord. When the people of Israel cried out to the Lord on account of the Midianites, the Lord sent a prophet to the people of Israel, and he said, thus says the Lord God of Israel, I led you up from Egypt and brought you out of the house of slavery, and I delivered you from the hand of the Egyptians, from the hand of all who oppressed you, and drove them out before you, and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. You shall not fear the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell, but you have not obeyed my voice. Now the angel of the Lord came and sat under the terebinth at Oprah, which belonged to Joash the Abizrite, while his son Gibeon was beating out wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, the Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. And Gideon said to him, please, my Lord, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us? And where are all his wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us, saying, did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hand of Midian. And the Lord turned to him and said, go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Do not I send you? And he said to him, please, Lord, how can I save Israel? Behold, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And the Lord said to him, But I will be with you, and you shall strike the Midianites as one man. And he said to him, If now I have found favor in your eyes, then show me a sign that it is you who speaks with me. Please do not depart from here until I come to you and bring out my present and set it before you. And he said, I will stay till you return. So Gideon went into his house and prepared a young goat and unleavened cakes from an ephah of flour. The meat he put in a basket, and a broth he put in a pot, and brought them to him under the terebinth and presented them. And the angel of God said to him, Take the meat and the unleavened cakes and put them on this rock and pour the broth over them. And he did so, and the angel of the Lord reached out the tip of the staff that was in his hands and touched the meat and the unleavened cakes, and the fire sprang up from the rock and consumed the meat and the unleavened cakes. And the angel of the Lord vanished from his sight. Then Gideon perceived that he was the angel of God, the angel of the Lord, and Gideon said, Alas, O Lord God, for now I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face. But the Lord said to him, Peace be to you, do not fear, you shall not die. Then Gideon built an altar there to the Lord and called it, The Lord is Peace. To this day it still stands at Ophrah, which belongs to the Abizarites. That night the Lord said to him, Take your father's bowl and the second bowl 7 years old, and pull down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the Asherah that is beside it, and build an altar to the Lord your God on the top of the stronghold here, with stones laid in due order. Then take the second bowl and offer it as a burnt offering with the wood of the Asherah that you shall cut down. So Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord told him. But because he was too afraid of his family, the men of town, afraid of his friend, the men of the town to do it by day, he did it by night. When the men of the town arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was broken down, and the Asherah beside it was cut down, and the second bowl was offered on the altar that had been built. And they said to one another, Who has done this thing? And after they had searched and inquired, they said, Gideon the son of Joash has done this thing. Then the men of the town said to Joash, Bring out your son that he may die, for he has broken down the altar of Baal and cut down the Asherah beside it. But Joash said to all who stood against him, Will you contend for Baal, or will you save him? Whoever contends for him shall be put to death by morning. If he is a god, let him contend for himself, because his altar has been broken down. Therefore, that day Gideon was called Jerubbaal, that is to say, let Baal contend against him, because he broke down his altar. Now all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the people of the east came together, and they crossed the Jordan and encamped in the valley of Jezreel. But the Spirit of the Lord clothed Gideon, and he sounded the trumpet, and the Abizarites were called out to follow him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, and they too were called out to follow him. And he sent messengers to Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, and they went up to meet them. Then Gideon said to God, If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have said, behold, I am laying a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece alone, and it is dry on all the ground, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand, and as you have said. And it was so. When he arose early next morning and squeezed the fierce, he wrung enough dew from the fleece to fill a bowl with water. Then Gideon said to God, Let not your anger burn against me. Let me speak just once more. Please let me test just once more with the fleece. Please let it be dry on the fleece only, and on all the ground let there be dew. And God did so that night. And it was dry on the fleece only, and all the ground was dew. Then Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all the people who were with him rose early and encamped beside the spring of Harod, and the camp of Midian was north of them by the hill of Morah in the valley. The Lord said to Gideon, The people with you are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hand, lest Israel boast over me, saying, My own hand has saved me. Now therefore proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, Whoever is fearful and trembling, let him return home and hurry away from Mount Gilead. Then 22,000 of the men returned, and 10,000 remained. And the Lord said to Gideon, The people are still too many. Take them down to the water, and I will test them for you here. Any one of whom I say to you, This one shall go with you, and any one of whom I say to you, This one shall not go with you, you shall not go. So he brought the people down to the water, and the Lord said to Gideon, Everyone who laps the water with the tongue as a dog laps you shall set by himself. Likewise, everyone who kneels down to drink. And the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. But all the rest of the people knelt down to drink water. And the Lord said to Gideon, with the 300 men who lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hand. Let all the other go, every man to his home. So the people took provisions in their hands and their trumpets, and he sent all the rest of the Israel men into his tent, but remained the 300. And the camp in the Midian was below him in the valley. That same night the Lord said to him, arise, go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hand. But if you are afraid to go down to the camp with Purah your servant, and you shall hear what they say, and afterward your hands shall be strengthened to go down against the camp. Then he went down with Purah and his servant to the outposts of the army, men who were in the camp. And the Midianites and the Amalekites and all the people of the east lay along the valley like locusts in abundance, and their camels were without number, as the sand that is on the seashore in abundance. When Gideon came, behold, a man was telling a dream to his comrade, and he said, behold, I dreamed a dream, and behold, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian and came to the tent and struck it so that it fell and turned it upside down, so that the tent lay flat. And this comrade answered, this is no other than the sword of Gideon the son of Joash, a man of Israel. God has given into his hand Midian and all the camp. As soon as Gideon heard the telling of the dream and its interpretation, he worshipped, and he returned to the camp of Israel and said, arise, for the Lord has given the host of Midian into your hand. And he divided the 300 men into three companies and put trumpets in their hands of all of them and empty jars with torches inside the jars. And he said to them, look at me and do likewise. When I come to the outskirts of the camp, do as I do. When I blow the trumpet, and I who are with you, then blow the trumpets also on every side of all the camp and shout for the Lord and for Gideon. So Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the outskirts of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch. When they had just set the watch, they blew the trumpets and smashed the jars that were in their hands. Then the three companies blew the trumpets and broke the jars. They held in their left hands the torches in their right hands and the trumpets to blow. And they cried out, a sword for the Lord and for Gideon. And every man stood in his place around the camp, and all the army ran, and they cried out and fled. When they blew the 300 trumpets, the Lord sent every man's sword against his comrade and against all the army. And the army fled as far as Beth Shittah toward Zerah, as far as the border of Abel Meholah by Tabath. And the men of Israel were called out from Naphtali and from Asher and from all Manasseh, and they pursued after Midian. Gideon sent messengers throughout all the hill country of Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites and capture the waters against them as far as Beth Harara and also the Jordan. So all the men of Ephraim were called out, and they captured the waters as far as Beth Bara and also the Jordan. And they captured the two princes of Midian, Oreb and Zeb, and they killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and Zebib they killed at the winepress of Zeb. Then they pursued Midian, and they brought the heads of Oreb and Gibeon to Zeb to Gibeon across the Jordan. Then the men of Ephraim said to him, what is this that you have done to us, not to call us when you went to fight against Midian? And they accused him fiercely, and he said to them, what have I done now in comparison with you? Is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the grapes harvested by Abiezer? God has given into your hands the prince of Midian, Oreb and Zeb. What have I been able to do in the comparison with you? Then their anger against him subsided when he said this. And Gibeon came to the Jordan and crossed over, he and the 300 men who were with him, exhausted yet pursuing. So he said to the men of Succoth, please give loaves of bread to the people who follow me, for they are exhausted, and I am pursuing after Zebah and Zaluma, the king of Midian. And the officials of Succoth said, are the hands of Zebah and Zaluma already in your hands, that we should give bread to your army? So Gideon said, well then, when the Lord has given Zebah and Zebulun into my hand, I will flail your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with the briars. And from there he went up to Penuel and spoke to them in the same way. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered. And he said to the men of Penuel, when I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Now Zebulun and Zalmunna were in Karkora with their army, about 15,000 men. All who were left of all the army of the people of the east for there had fallen 120,000 men who drew the sword. 120,000 men versus 3,000? That's crazy. And Gideon went up by the way of the tent dwellers east of Nobah and Jobigah and attacked the army, for the army felt secure. And Zebah and Zalmunna fled, and he pursued them and captured the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and he threw all the army into a panic. Then Gideon the son of Joash returned from the battle by the ascent of Heres, and he captured a young man of Succoth and questioned him. And he wrote down for him the officials and elders of Succoth 77 men. And he came to the men of Succoth and said, Behold, Zebah and Zalmunna, about whom you taunted me, saying, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna already in your hands, that we should give bread to your men who are exhausted? And he took the elders of the city, and he took thorns of the wilderness and briars with them, and taught the men of Succoth the lesson. And he broke down the tower of Penuel and killed the men of the city. Then he said to Zebah and Almunna, Where are the men whom you killed at Tabor? And they answered, As you are, so were they. Every one of them resembled the son of a king. And he said, They were my brothers, the sons of my mother. As the Lord lives, you have saved them alive. I would not kill you. He said to the Jether, his firstborn, Arise and kill them. But the young man did not draw his sword, for he was afraid, because he was still a young man. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, Rise yourself and fall upon us, for as the man is, so is his strength. For as a man is, so is his strength. And Gideon arose and killed Zebah and Zalmunna, and he took the crescent ornaments that were on the neck of their camels. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, Rule over us, and your son and your grandson also, for you have saved us from the hand of Midian. Gideon said to them, I will not rule over you. My son will not rule over you, but the Lord will rule over you. And Gideon said to them, Let me make a request of you. Every one of you give me the earrings from the spoil, for they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. And they answered, We will willingly give them. And they spread a cloak, and every man drew in its earrings of his spoil. And the weight of the gold carrying that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, beside the crescent ornaments and the pendants and the purple garments worn by the king of Midian, and beside the collars that were around the neck of their camels. And Gideon made an ephod of it and put it in his city in Ophrah, and all Israel whored after it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and to his family. Wait, what? And Gideon made an ephod of it and put it in the city in Ophrah, and all Israel whored after it there. And it became a snare to Gideon and to his family. So Midian was subdued before the people of Israel, and they raised their heads no more, and the land had rested 40 years in the days of Gideon, the mighty man of valor. Gideon is such a cool guy. Jerubbaal, son of Joash, went and lived in his house. Now Gideon had 70 sons, his own offspring, for he had many wives. And his concubine who was in Shechem also bore him a son, and he called his name Abimelech. And Gideon the son of Joash died in a good old age, and was buried in the tomb of Joash his father at Ophrah of the Abzerites. As soon as Gideon died, the people of Israel turned again and whored after Baal, and made Baal Berith their god. And the people of Israel did not remember the Lord their God, who had delivered them from the hand of all their enemies on every side. They did not show the steadfast love to the family of the Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, in return for all the good that he had done to Israel. So this is a continual reoccurrence theme that the Israelites they have to be governed. If they're not governed, immediately they start serving other gods. Now Abimelech the son of Jerubbaal went to Shechem to his mother's relative, and said to them, and to the whole clan of his mother's family, Say in the ears of all the leaders of Shechem, which is better for you, that all 70 of the sons of Jerubbaal rule over you, or that one rule over you. Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. And his mother's relatives spoke all these words on his behalf in the ears of all the leaders of Shechem, and their hearts inclined to follow Abimelech. Oh no. 57 verses. And they said, He is our brother. And they gave him 70 pieces of silver out of the house of Baal Berith, with which Abimelech hired worthless and reckless fellows who followed him. And he went to his father's house at Ophrah and killed his brother and sons of Jerubbaal, 70 men on one stone. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, was left, for he hid himself. And all the leaders of Shechem came together, and all Meth Milo, and they went away and made Abimelech king by the oak of the pillar at Shechem. When it was told to Jotham, he went and stood on top of Mount Gerizim and cried aloud and said to them, Listen to me, you leaders of Shechem, that the God may listen to you. The trees once went out to anoint a king over them, and they said to the olive tree, Reign over us. But the olive tree said to them, Shall I leave my abundance by which gods and men are honored and hold sway over the trees? And the tree said to the fig tree, You come and reign over us. But the fig tree said to them, Shall I leave my sweetness and my good fruit and go hold sway over the trees? And the tree said to the vine, You come and reign over us. But the vine said to them, Shall I leave my wine that cheers God and men and go hold sway over the trees? Then all the trees said to the brambles, You come and reign over us. And the brambles said to the trees, If in good faith you are anointing me king over you, then come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Now therefore, if you act in good faith and integrity, when you made Abimelech king, and if you dealt well with Jerubbaal his house, and have done to him as his deeds deserve, for my father fought for you and risked his life and delivered you from the hand of Midian, and you have risen up against my father's house and his days, and have killed his sons, 70 men on one stone, and have made Abimelech the son of his female servant king over the leaders of Shechem, because he is your relative. If you then have acted in good faith and integrity with Jerubbaal and with his house this day, then rejoice in Abimelech and let him also rejoice in you. But if not, let fire come out from Abimelech and devour the leaders of Shechem and Beth Milo, and let fire come out from leaders of Shechem and from Beth Milo and devour Abimelech. And Jotham ran away and fled and went to Beer and lived there because of Abimelech his brother. Abimelech ruled over Israel 3 years, and God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the leaders of Shechem. And the leaders of Shechem dealt treacherously with Abimelech, that the violence done to the 70 sons of Jerubbaal might come, and their blood be laid on Abimelech their brother, who killed him, and on the men of Shechem who strengthened their hands to kill his brothers. And the leaders of Shechem put men in ambush against him on the mountaintops, and they robbed all who passed by them along that way. And it was told to Abimelech, and Gal, the son of Ebed, moved into Shechem with his relatives, and the leaders of Shechem put confidence in him, and they went out into the field and gathered the grapes from their vineyards and trod them and held a festival. They went into the house of their God and ate and drank and reviled Abimelech. And Gal, the son of Ebed, said, Who is Abimelech, and who are we of Shechem that we should serve him? Is he not the son of Jerubbaal, and not Zebal, his official? Save the man of Hamor, the father of Shechem. But why should we serve him? Would that this people were under my hand, then I would remove Abimelech? I would say to Abimelech, Increase your army and come out. When Zebal, the ruler of the city, heard the words of Gal, the son of Ebed, his anger was kindled, and he sent messengers to Abimelech secretly, and saying, Behold, Gal, the son of Ebed, and his relatives have come to the Shechem, and they are stirring up the city against you. Now therefore go by night, you and the people who are with you, and set an ambush in the field. Then in the morning, as soon as the sun is up, rise early and rush upon the city, and when he and the people who are with him come out against you, you may do to them as your hands finds to do. So Abimelech and all the men who were with him rose up by night and set an ambush against Shechem in 4 companies. And Gal the son of Ebed went out and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city, and Abimelech and the people who were with him rose from their ambush. Then Gal saw the people who saw Zebal. Look, people who are coming down from the mountaintops. And Zebal said to him, You mistake the shadow of the mountains for men. Gal spoke again and said, Look, people are coming down from the center of the land, and one company is coming from the direction of the diviner's oak. Then Zebal said to him, Where's your mouth now? You who said, Who is Abimelech that we should serve him? Are not these the people whom you despise? Go out now and fight with them. And Gal went out at the head of the leaders of Shechem and fought with Abimelech, and Abimelech chased him, and he fled before him, and many fell wounded up to the entrance of the gate. And Abimelech lived at Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gal and his relatives so that they could not dwell at Shechem. On the following day, the people went out into the field, and Abimelech was told he took his people and divided them into 3 companies, and he set an ambush in the fields. And he looked and saw the people coming out of the city. So he rose against them and killed them. Abimelech and the company that was with them rushed forward and stood at the entrance of the gate of the city, while the 2 companies rushed upon all who were in the field and killed them. And Abimelech fought against the city all that day. He captured the city and killed his people who were in it, and he razed the city and sowed it with salt. When all the leaders of the tower of Shechem heard of it, they entered the stronghold of the house of El-Berith, and Abimelech was told that all the leaders of the tower of Shechem were gathered together. And Abimelech went up to the Mount Zalmon, and all the people who were with him. And Abimelech took an axe in his hand and cut down a bundle of bushwood and took it up and laid it on his shoulder. And he said to the men who were with him, "What you have seen me do, hurry do as I have done." So every one of the people cut down his bundles and followed Abimelech, put it against the stronghold, and they set strongholds on fire over them. So all the people of the tower of Shechem also died, about 1,000 men and women. Then Abimelech went to Thepez and encamped against Thepez and captured it. But there was a strong tower within the city, and all the men and women and all the leaders of the city fled to it and shut themselves in. And they went up to the roof of the tower, and Abimelech came to the tower and fought against it and drew near to the door of the tower to burn it with fire. And a certain woman threw an upper millstone on Abimelech's head and crushed his skull. Then he called quickly to the young man, his arm bearer, and said to him, "Draw your sword and kill me, lest they say of me, a woman killed him." And this young man thrust him through, and he died. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, everyone departed to his home. Thus God returned the evil of Abimelech, which he committed against his father in killing his 70 brothers. And God also made all the evil men of Shechem return on their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Jerubbaal. So there's a lot of battles here, a lot of war. After Abimelech, there arose to save Israel Tola, the son of Pua, and son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, and he lived at Shamir in the hill country of Ephraim, and he judged Israel 73 years. Then he died and was buried at Shamir. After him rose Jair the Gileadite, who judged Israel 22 years, and he had 30 sons who rode on 30 donkeys, and they had 30 cities, and called Havoth Jair to this day, which are in the land of Gilead. And Jair died and was buried in Carmel. The people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, and served the Baals and the Ashtaroth, and the gods of Syria, the gods of Sidon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the Amorites, the god of Philistines, and they forsook the Lord and did not serve him. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of the Philistines and into the hand of the Amorites. And they crushed and oppressed the people of Israel They crushed the people of Israel that year. For 18 years they oppressed all the people of Israel who were beyond the Jordan in the land of the Amorites, which is in Gilead. And the Ammonites, there's the Amorites and Ammonites, who crossed the Jordan to fight also against Judah and against Benjamin and against the house of Ephraim, so that Israel was severely distressed. And the people of Israel cried out to the Lord, saying, "We have sinned against you, because we have forsaken our God and have served the Baals." And the Lord said to the people of Israel, "Did I not save you from Egyptians and from the Amorites, from the Ammonites and from the Philistines, the Sidonians, and the Amalekites and the Moabites oppose you, and you cried out to me, and I saved you out of their hand, yet you have forsaken me and served other gods? Therefore I will save you no more. Go and cry to the gods whom you have chosen. Let them save you in the time of your distress." And the people of Israel said to the Lord, "We have sinned. Do not do to us whatever seems good to you. Only please deliver us this day." So they put away the foreign gods from among them, and they served the Lord, and he became impatient over the misery of Israel. Then the Ammonites were called to arms, and they encamped in Gilead, and the people of Israel came together, and they encamped at Mizpah. And the people, the leader of Gilead, said to one another, who is the man who will fight, who will begin to fight against the Ammonites? He shall be head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty warrior, but he was the son of a prostitute. Gilead was the father of Jephthah, and Gilead's wife also bore his son. And when his wife's son grew up, they drove Jephthah out and said to him, you shall not have any inheritance in our house. You shall not have any inheritance in our father's house, for you are the son of another woman. Then Jephthah fled from his brothers and lived in the land of Tob, and worthless fellows collected around Jephthah and went out with him. After a time, the Ammonites, made war against Israel. And when the Ammonites made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to bring Jephthah from the land of Tob, and they said to Jephthah, come be our leader, that we may fight against the Ammonites. But Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, did you not hate me and drive me out of my father's house? Why have you come to me now when you are in distress? And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, this is why we have turned to you now, that you may go with us and fight against the Ammonites, and be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. Jephthah said to the elders of Gilead, if you bring me home again to fight against the Ammonites, and the Lord gives them over to me, I will be your head. And the elders of Gilead said to Jephthah, the Lord will be witness between us if we do not do as you say. So Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and leader over them. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord at Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites and said, what do you have against me, that you have come to me to fight against my land? And the king of Ammonites answered the messengers of Jephthah, because Israel on coming up from Egypt took away my land from Arnon to the Jabbok and to the Jordan. Now therefore restore it peaceably. Jephthah again sent messengers to the king of the Ammonites and said to him, thus says Jephthah, Israel did not take away the land of Moab or the land of the Amorites. But when they came up from Egypt, Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea and came to Kadesh. Israel then sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, please let us pass through your land. But the king of Edom would not listen. They sent also to the king of Edom, but he would not consent. So Israel remained at Kadesh. Then they journeyed through the wilderness and went around the land of Edom, and the land of Moab Then they journeyed through the wilderness and went around the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and arrived on the east side of the land of Moab and camped on the other side of the Arnon. But they did not enter the territory of Moab, for the Arnon was the boundary of Moab. Israel then sent messengers to Sihon, king of the Amorites, king of Heshbon, and Israel said to him, please let us go pass through your land to our country. But Sihon did not trust Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon gathered all his people together and encamped at Jahaz and fought with Israel. And the Lord God of Israel gave Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they defeated them. So Israel took possession of all the land of the Amorites who inhabited that country, and they took possession of all the territory of the Amorites, from the Arnon to the Jabbok, and from the wilderness to the Jordan. So then the Lord, the God of Israel, dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. And are you to take possession of them? Will you not possess that Shemesh your God gives you to possess? And all that the Lord our God has dispossessed before us, we will possess. Now are you any better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever contend against Israel? Or did he ever go to war with them while Israel lived in Heshbon and its villages, and in Arier and its villages, and in all the cities that are on the banks of the Arnon? 300 years. Why did you not deliver them within that time? I therefore have not sinned against you. You do me wrong by making war on me. The Lord, the judge, decide this day between the people of Israel and the people of Ammon. But the king of the Ammonites did not listen to the word of Jephthah that he sent to him. And what time is it? It's 12. Then the Spirit of the Lord was upon Jephthah, and he passed through Gilead and Manasseh, and passed on to Mizpah of Gilead. From Mizpah of Gilead he passed on to Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord and said, if you will give the Ammonites into my hand, then whatever comes out from the door of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the Ammonites shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah crossed over to the Ammonites to fight against them, and the Lord gave them into his hands, and he struck them from Arier to the neighboring of Minnith, 20 cities, and as far as Abel Karaman with a great blow. So the Ammonites were subdued before the people of Israel. Then Jephthah came to his home at Mizpah, and he beheld his daughter came out to meet him with the tambourines and with dance. She was his only child. Beside he had neither son nor daughter. And as soon as he saw her, he tore his clothes and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You have become the cause of great trouble to me. For I have opened my mouth to the Lord, and I cannot take back my vow. And she said to him, My father, you have opened your mouth to the Lord. Do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth. And now that the Lord has avenged you on your enemies, on the Ammonites. So she said to her father, Let this thing be done for me. Leave me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down on the mountains and weep for my virginity, I and my companions. So he said, Go. Then he sent her away for 2 months, and she departed, she and her companions, and wept for her virginity on the mountains. And at the end of 2 months she returned to her father, who did with her according to his vow that he had made. She had never known a man, and it became a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went year by year to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gilead 4 days in the year. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Y'all hear this story here? Jephthah, the mighty warrior that God is using here, the Lord is using. He promised God, he promised that whatever beholds him after he comes, if God gives the Ammonites into his hands, whatever he beholds after he comes back from the battle, he would give as an offering or as a sacrifice to him. Lord, I will offer it up for a burnt offering, right? And basically, God gives the Ammonites into his hands, and he goes back to his home, and his daughter is the first thing that comes out. And what does he have to do? He gave this vow to God, and now he has to keep it. But think about it. Think about it. Why did God allow him to do that? Judges. Why did God allow him to kill his daughter for him as a sacrifice? It sounds kind of perverse, doesn't it? It sounds a little perverse. 29 to... Let's just do 29 to 40. Jephthah's conflicts with Ephraim. The men of Ephraim were called to arms, and they crossed to Zaphon, and said to Jephthah, Why did you cross over to fight against the Ammonites and did not call us to go with you? We will burn your house over you with fire. And Jephthah says to them, I and my people had a great dispute with the Ammonites, and when I called you, you did not save me from their hand. And when I saw that you will not save me, I took my life in my hand and crossed over against the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into my hand. Why then have you come up to me this day to fight against me? Then Jephthah gathered all the men of Gilead and fought with Ephraim, and the men of Gilead struck Ephraim, because they said, You are fugitives of Ephraim, you Gileadites, in the midst of Ephraim and the Manasseh. And the Gileadites captured the ford of the Jordan against the Ephraimites. And when any of the fugitives of Ephraim said, Let me go over, the men of Gilead said to him, Are you an Ephraimite? When he said no, they said to him, Then say Shibboleth. And he said, Then say Shibboleth. And he said, Sibboleth, for he could not pronounce it right. Then they seized him and slaughtered him at the fords of the Jordan at that time. 42,000 of the Ephraimites fell. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then Jephthah the Gileadite died and was buried in his city in Gilead. After him, Ibizan of Bethlehem judged Israel. He had 30 sons and 30 daughters. He gave in marriage outside his clan, and $30 he brought in from outside from his sons, and he judged Israel 7 years. Then Ibizan died and was buried at Bethlehem. After him, Elon the Zebulunite judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. Then Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried at Ajalon in the land of Zebulun. After him, Abaddon the son of Heliel the Pirathonite judged Israel. He had 40 sons and 30 grandsons who rode on 70 donkeys, and he judged Israel 80 years. Then Abaddon the son of Heliel the Perthonite died and was buried at Perthonon in the land of Ephraim in the hill country of the Amalekites. And the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, so the Lord gave them into the hand of the Philistines for 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah of the tribe of Danites, whose name was Moniah, and his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold, you are barren and have not borne children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Therefore be careful and drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. No razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite. Oh, a Nazarite. So Samson was a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, and a man of God came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of the angel of God, very awesome. I did not ask him where he was from. He did not tell me his name, but he said to me, Behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. So then drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb to the day of his death. Then Moniah prayed to the Lord and said, O Lord, please let the man of God whom you sent come again to us and teach us what we are to do with the child who will be born. And God listened to the voice of Moniah. And the angel of God came again to the woman, and she sat in the field, but Moniah, her husband, was not with her. So the woman ran quickly and told her husband, Behold, the man who came in the other day has appeared to me. And Moniah arose and went after his wife and came to the man and said to him, Are you the man who spoke to this woman? He said, I am. And Moniah said, Now when your words come true, what is to be the child's manner of life, and what is his mission? And the angel of the Lord said to Moniah, Of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat of anything that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean thing. All that I command her, let her observe. Moniah said to the angel of the Lord, Please let us detain you and prepare a young goat for you. And the angel of the Lord said, Moniah, if you detain me, I will not eat of your food. But if you prepare burnt offering, then offer it to the Lord. For Moniah did not know that he was the angel of the Lord. And Moniah said to the angel of the Lord, What is your name, so that when your words come true, we may honor you? And the angel of the Lord said to him, Why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful? So Moniah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it on the rock to the Lord, to the one who works wonders. And Moniah and his wife were watching. And when the flame went upward heaven from the altar, the angel of the Lord went up in the flame of the altar. Now Moniah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their face to the ground. The angel of the Lord appeared no more to Moniah and to his wife. Then Moniah knew that he was the angel of the Lord. And Moniah said to his wife, We shall surely die, for we have seen God. But his wife said to him, If the Lord had meant to kill us, he would have not have accepted a burnt offering and grain offering at our hands, or shown us all these things, or now announced to us such things as these. And the woman bore a son and called his name Samson. And the young man grew, and the Lord blessed him, and the Spirit of the Lord began to stir him in Mahanidan, between Zorah and Eshtaol. So Samson is coming in. Samson the Great. Samson. So 13 verses. And the angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah and his wife. 24. Verse 4, chapter 14. Samson went down to Timnah and Zimnah. Samson went down to Timnah, and at Timnah he saw one of the daughters of the Philistines. Then he came up and told his father and mother, I saw one of the daughters of the Philistines at Timnah. Now get her for me as a wife. But his father and mother said to him, Is there not a woman among the daughters of your relatives or among all our people that you must go to take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, Get her for me, for she is right in my eyes. And his father and mother did not know what it was from the Lord, for he was seeking an opportunity against the Philistines at the time the Philistines ruled over Israel. Then Samson went down with his father and mother to Timnah, and they came to the vineyards of Timnah, and behold, a young lion came toward him, right? Toward him, roaring. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and although he had nothing in his hands, he tore the lion in pieces as one tears a young goat. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she was right in Samson's eyes. After some days, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees in the body of the lion, and honey. And he scraped it out into his hands and went on, eating as he went. And he came to his father and mother and gave some to them, and they ate. But he did not tell them that he had scraped the honey from the carcass of the lion. His father and mother went down to the woman, and Samson prepared a feast there for so the young men used to go. And as soon as the people saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with them. And Samson said to them, let me now put a riddle to your hand. If you can tell me what it is within the 7 days of the feast, find it out, then I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. But if you cannot tell me what it is, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 changes of clothes. And they said to him, put your riddle that we may hear it. And he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. And in the 3 days they could not solve the riddle. On the 4th day they said to the Samson's wife, entice your husband to tell us what the riddle is, lest we burn you and your father's house with the fire. Have you invited us here to impoverish us? And Samson's wife wept over him and said, you only hate me. You do not love me. You have put a riddle to my people. You have not told me what it is. And he said to her, behold, I have not told my father nor my mother shall I tell you. She wept before him the 7 days that feast lasted, and on the 7th day he told her, because she pressed him hard. Then she told the riddle to the people, and the men of the city said to him at the 7th day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? And he said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle. And the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and struck down 30 men of the town, and took their spoil, and gave the garments to those who had told the riddle. In hot anger he went back to his father's house, and Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his best man. After some days, at the time of wheat harvest, Samson went down to visit his wife with a young goat. And he said, I will go into my wife in the chamber, but her father would not allow him to go in. And her father said, I really thought you would surely hated her, so I gave her to your companion. Is not your younger sister more beautiful than she? Please take her instead. And Samson said to them, this time I shall be innocent in regard to the Philistines when I do them harm. So Samson went out and caught 300 foxes and took torches, and he torched them tail to tail and put a torch between each pair of tails. And he went and set fire to the torches. He let the foxes go in the standing grain of the Philistines, and set fire to the stacks, grain, and standing grain, as well as the olive orchard. When the Philistines said, who has done this? They said, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because he has taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burned her and her father And the Philistines came up and burned her and her father with fire. And Samson said to them, if this is what you do, I swear I'll be avenged on you. And after that I will quit. And he struck them hip and thigh with a great blow. And he went down and stayed in the cleft of the rock of Etam. Then the Philistines came up and encamped in Judah and made a raid on Lehi. And the men of Judah said, why have you come up against us? They said, we have come up to bind Samson, to do him as he did to us. Then 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cleft of the rock of Etam and said to Samson, do you not know that the Philistines are rulers over us? What then is this that you have done to us? And he said to them, as they did to me, so have I done to them. And they said to him, we have come down to bind you, that we may give you into the hands of the Philistines. And Samson said to them, swear to me that you will not attack me yourselves. They said to him, no, we will only bind you and give you into their hands. We will surely not kill you. So they bound him with 2 ropes and brought him up from the rock. When he came to Lehi, The Philistines came shouting to meet him. Then the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him, and the ropes that were on his arms became a flax that has caught fire, and his bonds melted off his hands. And he found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, and put out his hand and took it with him. He struck 1,000 men. And Samson said, with the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have struck down 1,000 men. As soon as he had finished speaking, he threw away the jawbone out of his hands, and that place was called Ramath Lehi. And he was very thirsty, and he called upon the Lord and said, you have granted this great salvation by the hand of your servant, and shall I now die of thirst and fall into the hands of the uncircumcised? And God split open the hollow place that is at Lehi, and water came out from it. And when he drank, his spirit returned, and he revived. Therefore, the name of it was called Enhokoror. It is at Lehi to this day, and he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. Samson and Delilah. Samson went to Gaza, and on there he saw a prostitute, and he went into her. The Gazites were told, Samson has come here, and they surrounded the place and set an ambush for him all night at the gate of the city. They kept quiet all night, saying, let us wait till the light of the morning, and then we will kill him. But Samson lay till midnight. And at midnight he rose and took hold of the doors of the gate city and the two posts, and pulled them up, bar and all. And he put them on his shoulders and carried them to the top of the pillar that is in the front of Hebron. And after this he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. Wait, this must be a different woman? Oh, this must be a different woman. Why does he keep liking the women of the Philistines? Like, this is their enemy. Like, Samson, come on, bro. After this, he loved a woman in the valley of Soreth, whose name was Delilah, and the lords of the Philistines came up to her and said to her, seduce him and see where his great strength lies, and by what means we may overpower him, that we may bind him to humble him, and we will each give you 1,100 pieces of silver. So Delilah said to Samson, please tell me where your great strength lies, and how you might be bound, that one could subdue you. Samson said to her, if they bind me with 7 fresh bowstrings that I have not been dried, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now she had men lying in ambush in an inner chamber, and she said to him, the Philistines are coming upon you, Samson. But he snapped the bowstrings as a thread of flax snaps when it touches the fire. So the secret of the strength was not known. Then Delilah said to Samson, behold, you have mocked me and told me lies. Please tell me how you might be bound. And he said to her, if they bind me with new ropes that have not been used, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. So Delilah took new ropes, bound him with them, and said to him, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. And the men lying in ambush were in an inner chamber, but he snapped the ropes off his arms like a thread. Then Delilah said to Samson, until now you have mocked me and told me lies. Tell me you might be bound. And he said to her, if you weave the 7 locks of my head with the web and fasten it tight with a pin, then I shall become weak and be like any other man. So while he slept, Delilah took the 7 locks of his head and woven them into the web, and she made them tight with the pin and said to him, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. But he awoke from his sleep and pulled away the pin and loom and the web, and he said to him, how can you say I love you when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times. You have not told me where your great strength lies. And when she pressed him hard with her words, day after day, and urged him, his soul was vexed to death. And he told her all his hearts, and he said to her, a razor had never come upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite to God from my mother's womb. If my head is shaved, then my strength will leave me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. When Delilah saw that he had told her all his hearts, she sent and called the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up again, for he has told me all his hearts. Then the lords of the Philistines came up to her and brought the money in his hands. She made him sleep on his knees, and she called a man and had him shave off the 7 locks of his head. Samson, why are you letting... So he allows the men to shave off his head. Shave off his... Then she began to torment him, and his strength left him. And she said, the Philistines are upon you, Samson. And he awoke from his sleep and said, I will go out as other times and shake myself free. But he did not know that the Lord had left him. And the Philistines seized him and poked and gouged out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with bronze shackles. And he ground at the mill in the prison. But the hair of his head began to grow again after he had been shaved. Now the lords of the Philistines gathered to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon their God and to rejoice. And they said, our God has given Samson, our enemy, into our hands. And when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our God has given our enemy into your hand, the revenger of our country, who has killed many of us. And when their hearts were merry, they said, call Samson that he may entertain us. So they called Samson out of the prison, and he entertained them. They made him stand between the pillars. And Samson said to the young man who held him by the hand, let me feel the pillars on which the houses rest, that I may lean against them. Now the house was full of them and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And on the roof there were about 3,000 men and women who looked on while Samson entertained. When Samson called to the Lord, he said, O Lord God, please remember me. Please strengthen me only this once, O God, that I may be avenged on the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson grasped the 2 middle pillars on which the house rested, and he leaned his weight against them, his right hand on the one and his left on the other. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. Then he bowed with all his strength, and the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people who were in it. So the dead whom he killed at the death were more than those whom he had killed during his life. Then his brother and all his family came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Moniah, his father. He had judged Israel 70 years. Micah the Levite. There was a man of hill country of Ephraim whose name was Micah, and he said to his mother, the 1,100 pieces of shekels that were taken from you, about which you uttered a curse, and have spoken in my... Wait, is this the... Whose name was Micah? And he said to his mother, the 1,100 pieces of silver that were taken from you, about which you uttered a curse, and also spoke in my ears, behold, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, blessed be my son by the Lord. And he restored the 1,100 pieces of silver to his mother. And his mother said, I dedicate the silver to the Lord from my hand for my son, to make a carved image and a metal image. Now therefore I will restore it to you. So when he restored the money to his mother took 200 pieces of silver and gave it to the silversmith, who made it into a carved image and metal image. And it was the house of Micah, and the man Micah had a shrine, and he made an ephod and a household god, and ordained one of his sons, who became his priest. In those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Now there was a young man of Bethlehem in Judah, of the family of Judah, who was a Levite, and he sojourned there. And the man departed from the town of Bethlehem in Judah to sojourn when he could find a place. And as he journeyed, he came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah. And Micah said to him, where do you come from? And he said to him, I am a Levite of Bethlehem in Judah. I am going to sojourn where I may find a place. And Micah said to him, stay with me and be a father and a priest, and I will give you 10 pieces of silver a year and suit of clothes in your living. And the Levite went in, and the Levite was content to dwell with the man, and the young man became to him like one of his sons. And Micah ordained the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and was in the house of Micah. And Micah said, now I know that the Lord will prosper me, because I have a Levite as a priest. And we're almost done with Judges. Ooh! Can we finish, though? That's the only thing. Can we finish it? Yeah. What time is it? 12:24? Eesh. to do part 2 later. I have to do it today though, right? Oh, my bad. I mean, we can read till 10:30. La 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 la. I mean, we can read until there's 20 minutes to get there. Oh man, I'm gonna be using dance money. Chapter 18 of Judges. Ishmaelite. Negativity focused on uncertainty. That is what fear is. That's a bar. That's a good word. That's a good word. Let's get some money. All right, so Judges chapter 18. And I gotta leave in like 10 minutes. Gosh dang it. Ah. 1, 2, 3, 4, $5. So I got $5. Probably use that for food later. All right, let's read chapter 18. If I can finish Judges, I need to finish Judges. Yeah, I'm gonna finish Judges. No matter what happens, I'm finishing Judges. In those days, there was no king in Israel, and in those days, the tribe of the people of Dan was seeking for himself an inheritance to dwell in, for until then, no inheritance among the tribe of Israel had fallen to them. So the people of Dan sent 5 able men from the whole number of the whole number of their tribe from Zerah, from Eshtaol, to spy out the land and to explore. And they said to them, "Go and explore the land." And they came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, and lodged there. When they were there by the house of Micah, they recognized the voice of the young Levite, and they turned aside and said to him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? What is your business here?" And he said to them, this is how Micah dealt with me. He has hired me, and I'll become his priest. And they said to him, inquire of God, please, that we may know whether the journey on which we are setting out will succeed. And the priest said to them, go in peace. The journey on which you go is under the eye of the Lord. Then the 5 men departed and came to Laish and saw the people who were there, how they lived in security after the manner of the Sidonians, and quiet and unsuspecting, lacking nothing that is in the earth, and possessing wealth, and how they were far from the Sidonians, and had no dealings with anyone. And when they came to their brothers at Zorah and Eshtaol, their brothers said to them, what do you report? They said, arise, let us go up against them, for we have seen the land, and behold, it is very good. And will you do nothing? Do you not be slow? Do not be slow to go to enter in and possess the land. As soon as you go, you will come to an unsuspecting people. The land is spacious, for God has given into your hands the place where there is no lack of anything that is in the earth. So 600 men of the tribe of Dan, armed with weapons of war, sent out from Zorah and Eshtaol, and went up and encamped at Kiriath Jearim in Judah. On this account, that place is called Mahanath to this day. Behold, it is west of the Kiriath Jearim, and they passed on from there to the hill country of Ephraim, and it came to the house of Micah. Then the 5 men who had gone out to scout out the country of Lavish said to their brothers, Do you know that in the house there are an ephod household gods, a carved image and metal image? Now therefore consider what you will do. And they turned aside. There came to the house of the young Levite at the home of Micah, and asked them about his welfare. Now the 600 men of the Danites, armed with their weapons of war, stood by the entrance of the gate. And the 5 men who had gone to scout out the land went up and entered and took the carved image and ephod, the household god, and the metal images, while the priest stood by the entrance of the gate with the 600 men armed with the weapons of war. And when these went into Micah's house, and took the carved image, the ephod, the household god, and the metal images, the priest, and said to them, what are you doing? And they said to him, keep quiet, put your hand on your mouth, and come with us and be to us a father and a priest. Is it better for you to be a priest to the house of one man, or to a priest, or to a priest to a tribe and a clan in Israel? And the priest's heart was glad. He took the ephod and the household gods and the carved image and went along with the people. So they turned and departed, putting the little ones and the livestock and the goods in front of them. When they had gone a distance from the home of Micah, the men who were in the houses near Micah's house were called out, and they overtook the people of Dan, and they shouted to the people of Dan, who turned around and said to Micah, what is the matter with you, that you have come with such a company? And he said, you take my gods that I made, and the priests, and go away and what I have left. And how do you ask me, what is the matter with you? And the people of Dan said to him, do not let your voice be heard among us, lest anger fellows fall upon you, and you lose your life with the lives of your household. Then the people of Dan went their ways, and when Micah saw that they were too strong for him, he turned and went back to his home. But the people of Dan took what Micah had made, and the priests who belonged to him, and they came to Laish, to a people quiet and unsuspecting, and struck them with the edge of the sword, and burned the city with fire. And there was no deliverer, because it was far from Sidon, and they had no dealings with anyone. It was in the valley that belongs to Beth Rahab, and they rebuilt the city and lived in it. And they named the city Dan after the name of Dan, their ancestor, who was born to Israel. But the name of the city was Laish at the first. And the people of Dan set up carved images for themselves, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Moses, his son, were priests to the tribe of Danites, until the day of the captivity of the land. So they set up Micah's carved image that he made, as long as the house of God was at Shiloh. Finish. In those days, there were no kings in Israel. A certain Levite was sojourning in the remote parts of the hill country of Ephraim, who took to himself a concubine from Bethlehem in Judah, and his concubine was unfaithful to him, and she went away from him to her father's house at Bethlehem in Judah. And there were 4 months. Then her husband arose and went after her to speak kindly to her and bring her back. He had with him his servants, a couple of donkeys, and she brought him into his father's house. And when the girl's father saw him, he came with joy to meet him. And his father-in-law and the girl's father made him stay, and he remained with them 3 days. So they ate and drank and spent the night there. And on the 4th day they arose early in the morning, and he prepared to go. But the girl's father said to his son-in-law, strengthen your heart with the morsel of bread, and after you may go. So the two of them sat and ate and drank together, and the girl's father said to the man, be blessed to spend the night, and let you be merry, and let your heart be merry. And when the man rose up to go, his father-in-law pressed him till he spent the night there again. And on the fifth day he arose early in the morning to depart. And the father's girl said, strengthen your heart and wait until the day declines. So they ate both again. So they ate both of them. And when the man and his concubine and his servant rose up to depart, his father-in-law, the girl's father, said to him, behold, now the day has waned toward evening. Please spend the night. Behold, the day draws to its close. Lodge here and let your heart be merry, and tomorrow you shall rise early in the morning for your journey and go home. But the man who would not spend the night, he rose up and departed, arrived opposite Jebus, that is Jerusalem. He had with him a couple of saddle donkeys. His concubine was with him, and they were near Jebus. And the day was nearly over, and his servant said to his master, come now, let us turn aside to the city of the Jebusites. And he spent the night in it. And his master said to him, we will not turn aside into the city of foreigners who do not belong to the people of Israel, but we will pass on to Gibeah. And he said to his young man, come, let us draw near to one of these places and spend the night at Gibeah or at Ramah. So they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down on them near Gibeah, which belongs to Benjamin. And they turned aside there to go in and spend the night at Gibeah. And he went in and sat down in the open square of the city, for no one took them into his house to spend the night. And behold, an old man was coming from his work on the field at evening, and the man was from the hill country of Ephraim, and he was sojourning in Gibeah, and the men of the place were Benjaminites. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the travelers in the open square of the city. And the old man said, where are you going, and where do you come from? And he said to him, we are passing from Bethlehem in Jerusalem, in Judah, to the remote parts of the hill country of Ephraim, from which I come. I went to Bethlehem in Judah, and now I'm going to the house of the Lord. But no one has taken me into the house. We have straw and feed for our donkeys, with bread and wine for me and your female servants, and the young men with your servants. There is no lack of anything. And the old man said, peace be to you. I will care for you for all your wants. Only do not spend the night in the square. So he brought him into his house and gave the donkeys feed, and they washed their feet and ate and drank. As they were making their hearts merrying, behold, the men of the city, worthless fellows, surrounded the house, beating on the doors. They said to the old man, the master of the house, bring out the man who came to your house, that we may know him. And the master of the house, went out to them and said to them, no, my brothers, do not act so wickedly, since this man has come into my house. Do not do this vile thing. Behold, here are my virgin daughters and his concubine. Let me bring them out now, violate them, and do them what seems good to you. But against this man do not do this outrageous thing. But the men would not listen to him. So the man seized his concubine and made her go out to them. And they knew her and abused her all night until the morning. And as the dawn began to break, they let her go. And as the morning appeared, the woman came and fell down at the door of the man's house, where her master was, until it was light. And her master rose up in the morning, and he opened the door of the household and went out to go his way. And behold, there is his concubine lying at the door of the house, with her hands on the threshold. He said to her, get up, let us be going. But there was no answer. Then he put her on the donkey, and the man rose up and went away to his house, to his home. And when he entered his house, he took his knife. But there was an answer. Then he put her on the donkey, and the man rose up and went away to his home. And when he entered his house, he took his knife, and taking a hold of his concubine, he divided her limb by limb into 12 pieces, and sent her throughout all the territory of Israel. And all who saw it, such a thing has never happened or been seen from the day that the people of Israel came out of the land of Egypt until this day. Considering it, take counsel and speak. What the heck is going on? Hold on. This sounds like Lot. This story sounds a lot like Lot, because Lot and the three angels that appear in Sodom and Gomorrah. This sounds a lot like the Sodom and Gomorrah story. Except Lot did not give her daughters to the wicked men, but this guy does. What a weird story. Man, let me write it on here. Judges 19. What a weird story. Let's go 19 to... Let's just go 19 to 30. Man. That's a weird ass story. Okay, chapter 20. So we're almost there. We're almost there. Yeah, we're almost there. How many verses we got? So 24 plus 48. It's about 100. It's about 24 plus. It's about 70 verses. Then all the people of Israel came out from Dan to Beersheba, including the land of Gilead, and the congregation assembled as one man to the Lord at Mizpah, and the chief of all the people of all the tribes of Israel presented themselves in the assembly of the people of God, 400,000 men on foot that drew the sword. Now the people of Benjamin heard that the people of Israel had gone up to Mizpah, and the people of Israel said, "Tell us, how did this evil happen?" And the Levite, the husband of the woman who was murdered, answered and said, "I came to Gibeah that belongs to Benjamin, I and my concubine, to spend the night. And the leaders of Gibeah rose against me and surrounded the house against me by night. They meant to kill me, and they violated my concubine, and she is dead. So I took hold of my concubine and cut her in pieces and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed abomination and outrage in Israel. Behold, you people of Israel, all of you, give your advice and counsel here." And all the people arose as one man, saying, "None of us will go to his tent, and none of us will return to his house. But now this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will go up against it by lot, and we will take 10 men of 100,000, 10 men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 of 10,000, to bring provision for the people, that when they come they may repay Gibeah of Benjamin for all the outrage that they have committed in Israel." So all the men of Israel gathered against the city, united as one man. And the tribe of Israel sent men throughout all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, "What evil is this that has taken place among you? Now therefore give up the men, the worthless fellows in the Gibeah, that we may put them to death, and purge evil from Israel." But the Benjaminites would not listen to the voice of their brothers, the people of Israel. Then the people of Benjamin came together out of the cities to Gibeah to go out to battle against the people of Israel. And the people of Benjamin mustered out of their cities on that day 26,000 men who drew the sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, who mustered 700 chosen men. Among all those were 700 chosen men who were left-handed. Everyone could sling a stone at hair and not miss. And the men of Israel, apart from Benjamin, mustered 400,000 men who drew the sword. All these were men of war. The people of Israel rose and went up to Bethel and inquired of God, who shall go up first for us to fight against the people of Benjamin? And the Lord said, "Judah shall go up first." Then the people of Israel rose in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to fight against Benjamin, and the men of Israel drew up the battle line against them at Gibeah. The people of Benjamin came out of Gibeah and destroyed them on that day, 22,000 men of the Israelites. But the men of Israel, took courage and again formed the battle line in the same place where they had formed it on the first day. And the people of Israel went up and wept before the Lord until the evening. And they inquired of the Lord, "Shall we again draw near to fight against our brother, the people of Benjamin?" And the Lord said, "Go up against them." So the people of Israel came near against the people of Benjamin the second day, and Benjamin went against them out of Gibeah the second day and destroyed 18,000 men of the people of Israel. All these were men who drew the sword. And then all the people of Israel, the whole army, went up and came to Bethel and wept. And they sat before the Lord and fasted that day until evening, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And the people of Israel inquired of the Lord, for the ark of the covenant of God was there in those days. And Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, ministered before it in these days, saying, "Shall we go out more to battle against our brothers, the people of Benjamin, or shall we cease?" And the Lord said, "Go up, for tomorrow I'll give them into your hands." So Israel sent man in ambush around Gibeah, and the people of Israel went up against the people of Benjamin on the third day, and he set themselves in array against Gibeah as other times. And the people of Benjamin went out against the people and were drawn away from the city. And as at other times they began to strike and kill some of the people in the highways, one of which goes up to Bethel, and another and others to Gibeah in the open country, about 30 men of Israel. And the people of Benjamin said, they are routed before us as the first. But the people of Israel said, let us flee and draw them away from the city to the highways. And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place and set themselves in array at Baltamar. And the men of Israel who were in ambush rushed out of their places from Maria Geba. And there came against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and the battle was hard. But the Benjaminites did not know that disaster was close upon them, and the Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel, and the people of Israel destroyed 25,100 men of Benjamin that day. And all these were men who drew the sword. So the people of Benjamin saw that they were defeated. The men of Israel gave ground to Benjamin because they trusted the men in ambush whom they had set against Gibeah. Then the men in ambush hurried and rushed against Gibeah. The men in ambush moved out and struck all the city with the edge of the sword. Now the appointed signal between the men of Israel and the men in the main ambush was that when they had made a great cloud of smoke rise up out of the city, the men of Israel should turn in battle. Now Benjamin had begun to strike and kill about 30 men of Israel. They said, surely they are defeated before us, as in the first battle. But when the signal began to rise out of the city in a column of smoke, the Benjaminites looked behind them, and behold, the whole of the city went up in smoke to heaven. Then the men of Israel turned, and the men of Benjamin were dismayed, for they saw that disaster was close upon them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel in the direction of the wilderness, and the battle overtook them. And those who came out of the cities were destroying them in the midst. Surrounding the Benjamites, they pursued them and trod them down from Noha, as far as opposite Gibeah on the east. The 18,000 men of Benjamin fell, all of them men of valor, and they turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. 5,000 men of them were cut down in the highways. They were pursued hard to Gidom, and 2,000 men who were struck down. So all who fell that day of Benjamin were 25,000 men who drew the sword, all of them men of valor. But 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, and remained at the rock of Rimmon 4 months. And the men of Israel turned back against the people of Benjamin, and struck them with the edge of the sword, the city, the men, the beasts, and all that they found, all the towns that they found, they set on fire. Sheesh. There's a lot going here. Chapter 21. Now the men of Israel had sown at Mizpah. Not one of us shall give his daughter in marriage to Benjamin. And the people came to Bethel and sat there till evening before God, and they lifted up their voices and wept bitterly. And they said, O Lord, the God of Israel, why has this happened in Israel, that today there should be one tribe lacking in Israel? And the next day the people rose early and built there an altar and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the people of Israel said, which of the tribes of Israel did not come up in the assembly to the Lord? For they had taken a great oath concerning him who did not come up to the Lord to Mizpah, saying, he surely shall be put to death. And the people of Israel had compassion for Benjamin their brother. And they said, what is, will you give any of the daughters for wives? And they said, what is this? What is, sorry, God, give them any of our daughters for wives. And they said, what one is there of the tribes of Israel that did not come up to the Lord to Mizpah? And behold, no one had come to the camp from Jabesh Gilead to the assembly. For when the people were mustered, behold, not one of the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead was there. So the congregation sent 12,000 men of harvest men. Their commanders, go and strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, also the women and the little ones. This is what you shall do. Every male and every female that has lain with the male you shall devote to destruction. And they found among the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead 400 young virgins who had not known a man by lying with them. And they brought them to the camp at Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. Then the whole congregation sent word to the people of Benjamin who were at the rock of Rimmon, and proclaimed peace to them. And Benjamin returned at that time, and they gave them the women whom they had saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead, but they were not enough for them. And the people had compassion on Benjamin, because the Lord had made a breach in the tribe of Israel. Then the elders of the congregation said, what shall we do for wives for those who left, since the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, there must be an inheritance for the survivors of Benjamin, that a tribe not be blotted out from Israel. Yet we cannot give them wives from our daughters. For the people of Israel have sworn, cursed be he who gives a wife to Benjamin. So they said, behold, there is the yearly feast of the Lord at Shiloh, which is north of Bethel, east of the highway that goes up from Bethel to Shechem, the south of Libnah. And they commanded the people of Benjamin, saying, Go lie in ambush in the vineyards and watch. If the daughters of Shiloh come out to distance in the dance, come out to dance in the dances, then come out of the vineyards and snatch each man his wife from the daughters of Shiloh and go to the land of Benjamin. And when their fathers or their brothers come to complain to us, we will say to them, Grant them graciously to us, because we did not take for each man of them his wife in battle, neither did you give them to them. Else you would now be guilty. And the people of Benjamin did so, and took their wives according to their number from the dancers whom they carried off. They went and returned to their inheritance, and rebuilt the towns and lived there. And the people of Israel departed from there at that time, every man to his tribe, family, and they went out from there, every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in read Judges. We just finished the book of Judges, so we are on the book of Ruth. Very interesting. The book of Ruth, and I'm gonna have to continue later because I have to go. My friend is calling me, so thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm gonna finish this reading today later on. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch y'all in the. It froze up on me. Y'all good? Y'all good? You still here? Why is it frozen up? Okay, so I'll catch y'all in the next video.